Okay, let's unpack this. If you're a programmer, you have, at some point, spent way too much time arguing over code style.
Oh, absolutely. Tabs or spaces.
2 spaces, 4 spaces, it's just this universal challenge, right? Trying to keep a consistent style when everyone and all their tools seem to have a different opinion.
And it feels like a small thing, an aesthetic thing, but it's really not. It's foundational. If the code always looks the same, you read it faster, you onboard people faster.
You can just focus on the logic.
Exactly, not the semicolons.
Absolutely. And today, that's what we're diving deep into, but specifically for the Haskell ecosystem. We are on a quest to find and, more importantly, correctly implement the standard code formatter.
Which is a tool called Ormolu. And the source material for this is fantastic. It's basically the detailed, sometimes frustrated notes from a software developer.
A software plumber, they call themselves.
Yeah, a software plumber who documented every single technical hurdle. So they basically created a shortcut for you, the listener, to just bypass all that pain.
And their first discovery was a real head-scratcher. They saw a command cabal format and thought, great, problem solved.
Yeah, sounds perfect.
But it's not. It turns out that tool only formats project metadata. You know, the config files.
Not the source code itself. It leaves your .hs files completely untouched.
Which means you absolutely have to find a dedicated formatter. And in the Haskell world, the consensus now is pretty clear. The default choice is Ormolu.
Right. And here's the key context. Ormolu isn't really a standalone thing you go and grab first. It's bundled. It's the default formatter right inside the Haskell Language Server, HLS as most people call it.
So our mission today is to give you a clear, structured guide through this. We're going to cover where Ormolu fits, what the right way to install it is, and then we're going to strictly dissect the dependency hell that traps you if you do it the hard way.
Okay, so let's start with that landscape. Ormolu is the default, and it's integrated with HLS.
Which makes it really central to your whole workflow, right? If you're using something like VS Code with the Haskell extensions, it's there.
It's there, and it's ready to go. But what's really interesting here is that the HLS ecosystem gives you a choice.
Yeah.
It's flexible. So even though Ormolu is the default, you are not locked in.
No, not at all. The plumber's notes mention a few alternatives they looked at. There's Floskell, stylish Haskell.
And most notably, Fourmolu.
Yeah.
We'll probably come back to that one.
Yeah. It's a good reminder that, defaults are just guidelines. The ecosystem is mature. You can pick a tool that actually fits your team's style guide.
And just to step back for a second, this is so important for anyone learning or jumping between projects. When you enforce a consistent style, which is what Ormolu does so well, you just lower the cognitive load.
You're not wasting brain power on weird spacing.
None. You're focused on the structure, the logic. It just makes the code so much easier to understand.
It just takes all those style arguments completely off the table. So, okay, let's talk about the most critical part of this, the installation. Because this is where it all goes right or it all goes horribly wrong.
The source material is very, very clear on this. There's a high road and let's call it a very rocky low road.
The high road, the recommended best practice, is using GHCup.
Right. Think of GHCup as like the operating system for your Haskell environment. It manages your GHC versions, stack, cabal.
And crucially, the Haskell Language Server.
Exactly. And the great thing about GHCup is it handles all that complex versioning for you. You just run one command, dartcup install HLS. That's it.
It just works. It pulls down a pre-compiled centralized version and you're done.
So why is that so much better? Why does the source material basically have a giant warning sign against trying to install HLS or Ormolu with, say, cabal or stack directly?
Well, the plumber ran into two huge problems. First, just a practical one. Compiling HLS from source takes forever. It's notoriously slow.
You could be waiting a long, long time.
But the second reason is the real trap. If you use a tool like Stack or Cabal to install it, that installation gets bound to whatever GHC version you used to build it. It becomes this specialized project-specific tool.
It's localized. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's like you built a custom wrench that only works on one specific bolt on one specific car.
Exactly. So you switch to another project that uses a slightly different GHC version, which happens all the time.
And it breaks.
It breaks. You get version conflicts. It just doesn't work robustly across your whole system.
And this right here, this specific binding issue, it sets the stage for the thing every programmer dreads.
Dependency hell.
That's it. When you try to install a brand new tool, like the latest Ormolu, into a stable, frozen environment, like a Stack LTS snapshot, things just collide.
So let's zoom in on that exact failure. This is where our plumber's notes become a treasure map for you. The command was simple enough. does stack install Ormolu?
And boom, Stack just says, nope, cannot construct a build plan.
So what's actually happening here? The problem was with a really core component called cabal syntax.
Okay, so you can imagine the LTS snapshot. That's the stable set of tools Stack is using is this prepackaged box of ingredients. It's all guaranteed to work together.
It's frozen for stability.
Exactly. Now, the new version of the formatter they wanted, Ormolu 0.8.8.0.2, it needed a newer, fresher ingredient.
Yeah.
It required Cabal syntax version 3.14 or newer.
But the stable frozen ingredient box from the LTS snapshot, it only had an older version.
Cabal syntax 3.1.2.1.0 to be exact.
The two just couldn't reconcile. The new tool needed a component that was way newer than what the stable environment provided.
And that is the frustrating trade-off with fixed snapshots. You get stability, but you lag behind the latest tools. The error message is crystal clear. It just says the dependencies clash.
So if you've gone down this rocky path, you're staring at this error, how do you fix it? How do you perform that surgical operation?
You have to manually overwrite it. You have to basically tell Stack, look, I know what the snapshot says, but for this one specific thing, I need you to use this newer version instead.
And this isn't a project-specific setting. This is global.
That's right. You have to find your global stack configuration file. The notes say it's in .stack global-project-stack.yaml.
And inside that YAML file, there's a section called extra deps.
And in there, you manually add the package you need. You add Cabal syntax 3.13.2.0. And this is the critical part. You have to include its secure hash.
That hash is everything. It's this long string of characters that tells Stack exactly what version to grab and verifies that it's the right one.
We'll put the exact line in the show notes, but the principle is you're forcing Stack to use a component that its main recipe book, the LTS snapshot, hasn't officially approved yet.
And as soon as that line is saved in the global stack.yaml,
the command stack install Ormolu just works. It sails through.
And the verification at the end showed Ormolu 0.8.0.2 was installed and running with the right parser components. That one little config edit is the aha moment.
It saves you hours, maybe days of frustration.
So, okay, we've got the formatter installed. Now what does it actually do?
Time for the fun part. Our plumber tested it. They started a new project. They called it Fish.
Because why not?
Why not? And then they ran a really powerful command to format every Haskell file in the project in place.
Ormolu mode in place, GHCup files.
And this is where you see Ormolu's personality. It is an opinionated tool. It doesn't ask you what you want. It doesn't have a million config options. It just enforces its style.
The goal is to eliminate the debate entirely.
Exactly. And the biggest, most obvious change they saw in the Git diff was indentation.
This is the big one.
It is. If your code used 4 spaces, which is super common, Ormolu just aggressively changes every single line to 2 spaces.
That is a major stylistic choice that it just imposes on you.
It is. Now, the 2-space standard is getting more popular. You know, it fits more on the screen. But if you're a 4-space person, this can feel wrong.
Sacrilegious, almost. But it shows how definitive the tool is.
Right. And it wasn't just spacing. The source also pointed out how it standardizes the formatting of modules. So in the circlib.hs file, the module's export list got a complete makeover.
Right, so where before you might have just had a bunch of function names crammed onto one line.
Ormolu converts that into this really clean, structured multi-line format. Every export on its own line.
Which means every single module export list in your entire project now looks identical. That's a huge win for readability.
A huge win. It makes the definition of what a module provides structurally consistent. You're not parsing syntax, you're just reading the names.
So, to sum it all up, if you're taking away anything practical from this deep dive, there are 2 key strategies.
1, just use GHCup for your global tools. Prioritize it. It will save you from these version conflicts entirely.
And 2, if you absolutely have to use the SAC and LTS path for this, be ready for that dependency clash. Know that the fix is that surgical edit to your global stack.yaml.
Knowing that extra depth trick is your get-out-of-jail-free card.
And just understanding Ormolu's role as the standard is essential for working in Haskell today. It saves you all that time arguing about style.
So you can focus on the actual, high-level programming.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought. Ormolu imposes that 2-space standard. But what if you can't live with it? What if your team or your company has a strict 4-space rule?
You're not out of luck. You don't have to give up on auto-formatting. Remember that alternative we mentioned earlier? Fourmolu.
Fourmolu. The name says it all.
Exactly. It was created for that exact reason. It's a fork of Ormolu that does everything Ormolu does, but it defaults to and enforces 4-space indentation.
So it's the perfect example of the community building a path off the default. The answer isn't to fight the tool, it's to find the tool that aligns with your style so you can still have that consistency without giving up your aesthetic.